The next tool you can use to analyze environment is called Swot. It is a tool that students and basically managers are most familiar with because it's relatively easy to use, yet it's quite powerful. I will briefly explain on how you can use the Swot tool to analyze your environment. Actually, Swot has two components. One of the components is inward looking, so that serves to analyze your internal strengths and weaknesses. So SWOT is not only used to analyze environment, but also your conditions, your resources, your strengths and your weaknesses, your internal conditions of your organization or of anything that you are actually analyzing, because you can use SWOT to analyze also your strengths and weaknesses as a person, right? So how a SWOT looks like, I mean, for most of you, this might be just a review, because I do believe that you're familiar with the SWOT tool, but let's go through that again, because it's one of the most useful tools in strategy, and still is and still will be. So SWOT looks like, SWOT has four quadrants, right? The idea is that you will make this cross diagram, where in S stands for strengths, and in strength, you will look at the obviously strengths of your organization or of yourself. Depends on who you're analyzing, because you can make a SWOT for yourself, for a person, right? So, for example, you finish you graduate, you finish your MBA program, and now you need to change your strategy, or you need to create a new strategy, because now you have new resources, this MBA degree and the classmates and the guanxi and everything. So now you're thinking, what should I do? I can do a SWOT. Yeah, I look at my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in the environment. For companies, the same idea. I mean, companies can also look at what they are, what they have, and then they can adjust with what is happening outside, you know, and create a strategy. And for that, SWOT is the best tool. So strengths. Okay, so what can you do? What can you do well? What resources you have? What contacts you have? Right? What customers you have? What technology you have? All these things give you strengths. Do you have strong brand? You know, do you have strong know-how? Yeah? Do you have strong intellectual property? All these things should be there in the strengths category, and you're looking inward now when you analyze the strengths. Now, then you can have a look at weaknesses, and that is obviously all those things that you don't have, right? So maybe you're missing some piece of core technology, right? So you're licensing it from someone, you don't know how it works. You're missing the right people in your organization. You're missing the right market. You are in China, but you're not in US, or you're in the US, you're not in China, right? So whereas others are, your weaknesses should always be relative, in a sense that, by that I mean that you should be looking into what you have and what your competition have, right? And then say, okay, I don't have what the others have, so that's my weakness, right? Again, missing the right people, missing the right technology, right machines, right facility, right customers. That's all your weaknesses. That all might be your weaknesses. Now you have to be objective. It's quite painful to look at all these strengths objectively, but the analysis is necessary to find out whether your strategy is achievable, and overcoming your weaknesses, and can overcome these weaknesses. All right, so that's strengths and weaknesses. Now we have another quadrant. We have opportunities. Okay, opportunities. So obviously now you're all looking. This is the internal part of analysis, and this is the external part. So this is about environment. Yeah. So I'm looking at the opportunities. What new customers are there in the market? That's my opportunity, right? What are the shifts and changes in the environment? I can use the past to analyze that, which gave me new opportunities. Is there any technological change that's going to be interesting for me to benefit from? Okay, can I adopt it in my business model? Is there society is changing in some way, so I can have new customers maybe coming to the marketplace? I can see them, or is there some new regulation coming that might help me that I can benefit from? Because maybe there's an environmental protection regulation, but I already do protect the environment, so I'm fine with that. All these things that are coming from the environment but are positive for you are those opportunities. So actually, it's a good idea to make us to create SWOT as a second step after your pestle analysis, because the pestle will feed into the opportunities and threats part of your SWOT analysis. So threats are those outside influences that have a negative impact on you. So it's the same thing, just 180 degrees opposite. You will analyze political, legal, social, technological, and economical changes in your environment, and you will figure out what those that are negative for you, and you'll put it in this quadrant. That's the threats, right? So maybe there's new regulation coming, environmental regulation, but this time it's going to be harmful for you because you are not ready, right? You need to invest money into securing new technology. Take McDonald's, right? Maybe McDonald's was always selling the typical fried food, hamburgers and stuff like that, and now the society is inclining towards more healthy food, which McDonald's historically never offered. But there was always some salads, but like it's half-heartedly, I would say. Now McDonald's is trying to adopt and trying to change their strategy, trying to introduce more healthy choices in their menu, but it's difficult. I do believe this is a threat to them that can eventually kill them, right? Because yes, these fried things with lots of carbs and lots of fat are very unhealthy for you, and newer generation are becoming more conscious about that. So that will be a threat. Now, this is not to say that McDonald's will not adapt. We'll see that about that. Companies been adapting for more than 60, 70 years. So they're great at that. This is their resource, their strength, the ability to adapt. But they definitely have a problem to look into. So this is SWOT. As I mentioned, you can also use SWOT for analyzing your personal situation. I personally think that this is even more valuable than when it comes to using SWOT for your organizational analysis. And it is something that you should definitely try and implement if you wish to analyze not only environment but also internal component of your strategy, your strengths and weaknesses.